Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of No Holds Barred, our little thoughts videos at the end of all of our journeys, where I basically sit here, waffle on for about 10 minutes, and contemplate my thoughts about the game we've just finished. And as you may notice, the game we've just finished in the title, as well as right there, is The Legend of Zelda, Skyward Sword HD. This is a game I originally played back on the Wii when it was released. I even got the collector's edition. I got the one with the fancy gold Wiimote with the motion plus all inbuilt into it. And I got the soundtrack. At the time, it was sort of a bit lackluster for me. It never really ranked very highly. The story was okay. There's certainly bits at the ending, no spoilers obviously, but there were bits in the ending that definitely had me in tears. But I could never really get past the whole gimmicky nature of the control scheme. Enter the HD remake, released a few months back. At the time of recording, it's probably the closest I've actually got to a release date for a game for a while, where one of the most important things they've upgraded, you can use a normal controller. Controls, however, are a bit screwy, as one might expect from a game that was originally designed for motion control. Gamer instinct says, the right analog stick is your camera. No, it isn't, it's your sword. You swipe up to slash up, down, slash down, left, right, blah, blah, and you get the idea. To use the camera, you hold down the left shoulder button. So for a lot of it, I was pulling out my sword and randomly hitting things, going, right, what's over there? Oh, right, that doesn't work quite well. Okay, what's over there? So once you manage to wrap your head around a different control scheme than you're used to, this game plays so much better, at least in my personal opinion, than it ever did with the motion controls on the Wii originally. I've not used the motion controls in this game. Didn't particularly fancy using the motion controls in this game, but from all other sources, and feel free to go and fact check me on this, the motion controls are as tight as they've always been, which is fine. Well, okay, they're tight. I don't know if it's always been. It's been a very long time since I last hooked up the Wii and used the controls, but there we go. I can imagine they're tighter because of the improved technology, but they're either way. But yeah, I played this entire game through on the controller, normal difficulty, as you can see right there. We have done our usual 100% completion. We've not done full completionist, we've not played it on hero mode, we've not done the full gauntlet challenge to get to max out our wallet, because, to be honest, by the time we were reaching the final quarter of the game, I'd pretty much maxed out all of my gear, everything anyway. We could have done a few more pouches and upgrades in here and there, but I didn't really see much of a point. There's a crafting system in this game. You go around the world, you collect little artifacts and bits and pieces and crafting components from various places, and then you go to a chap in the bazaar, the market of Skyloft, which is your central hub, basically, and you can upgrade your gear. So we've got the bow can be upgraded about 3 times, so can our beetle, which is like a little, well, it's a flying scarab beetle that can pick up things, and it's marvellous. Quivers, bomb bags, slingshots, most of the gear some gear bits don't upgrade, which is understandable. Other bits we have fully upgraded. Our sword we upgraded, but that's part of the course of the story. Yeah, so for the most part, upgrading system's brilliant. It's a bit faffy with the way the components work, but it's fair enough. Rupees are fine. You buy a bunch of different components. You find collectibles throughout the world, which you can then use to further your character build. It's pretty basic stuff in the day of massive games like Skyrim and the Outer Worlds and etc, but for the most part it's a fun story, it's a fun little mechanic, and you don't need to do it, but I would seriously recommend doing it. It's not that difficult, so yeah, give it a shot. We've got all of our heart containers. Our health is at full, it's at max. We've bought 2 heart medallions, we collected how many heart containers there were. We got all of the goddess cubes throughout the entire world of Hyrule, and, well, it's not Hyrule in this game, it's the surface and the sky. We've got all the goddess cubes, which is another level of collectibles, unlockable chests that you can find as you progress. And we unlocked all the songs. You get a harp. As per with usual in Zelda games, you get a musical instrument. However, unlike Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, or even the Wind Waker, you don't really get a chance to let loose with it. All Link does is strum a harp. Just diddling, 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 diddling. Would I have preferred it if I had an Ocarina of Time style system where I could actually play the songs where I wanted to by pressing buttons? Yes. Do we get it? No. Is it the end of the world? No. It's not the end of the world. It would have been a nice to have, but in the most part, it doesn't really come into it. You play the harp a bit and a gossip stone appears, or you get a furry or something. But yeah, in terms of story, this game takes place at the start of the easy to follow and very simple Zelda timeline. No, wait, that's not it. But yeah, this is the easiest game to position. This is the beginning of the Zelda timeline. This tells the story about how Zelda becomes Zelda, how Link becomes Link, the hero, etc, etc, etc. Massive. It's not a massive cast of characters. There are a lot of interesting secondary characters. There is one character in particular, no spoilers, once again, who you meet early on in the game, and the entire character arc around him is absolutely fantastic. He easily is one of my favourite characters in this game, especially one cutscene. Once again, I really want to spoil, but I'm not going to, because basically, you should buy this game. If you were interested in Zelda, if you looked at a Zelda game and thought that looks interesting, I'd say give this a shot. If you've got a Switch, give this game a shot. Give it a try. It's a fun game. Another thing I've noticed is this game has made me realise how much I've sort of missed the traditional 3D, well, not traditional. Traditional Zelda is basically top-down, running around. But the 3D Zelda, your Ocarina of Time, your Twilight Princesses, your Wind Wakers, I miss that third-person Zelda experience. You kind of get it in Breath of the Wild. You kind of get it. But they did so many different things in Breath of the Wild that to come back to the core Zelda design, you start off as Link, you clear dungeons, you clear temples, you get an item from the temple to help you backtrack and progress further into the game, you get the Master Sword, that's just brilliant. I can't tell you how much I missed that, or rather, I can't tell you how much how much I realised I missed that once I started playing this game. Even from the moment I opened it, and you hear that, well, you can hear it in the background now, that traditional Zelda titles, that save menu, the menu music. It's iconic in gaming. And it surprised me how much I missed that. It surprised me how much I missed the music in this game. Music in this game is top-notch, for the most part. There are a couple of moments, especially one towards the end of the game, where you kind of sit there and think, you could have done something really epic with the soundtrack here. Why didn't you? Which annoyed me slightly. It slightly irked me. I mean, the scene was fantastic. It was brilliant. It was great fun. But something like a Yakuza 0 music riff, or not even Yakuza 0, something like a Lord of the Rings sort of big orchestral fanfare of this is an epic battle sort of thing, that would have been amazing. But instead we sort of just got diddly 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 on repeat, and it's just But yeah, so we go graphics. Also the HD remake, don't expect anything mind-blowing in terms of graphics, but they're good. Look, part of me is a bit burnt out on the whole, this horse is in 8K high definition, each hair is individual, and they eat and other things in real time. Yeah, no, we don't need that. I don't need that. Make a good game, make a game that looks decent, there we go. Do I like the character models? Not so much. I think Twilight Princess wins out still in terms of art style. I could say Wind Waker as well, but the cartoony aesthetic of Wind Waker is a brilliant thing, but I don't know. This seems... Something about the character designs, or at least the graphics seem a bit weird to me. I much prefer that sort of... I preferred how the game looked with Twilight Princess rather than this, but that said, it's not a game breaker. It's not a deal breaker in any sense, it's just the way it is. Lighting effects was well done, i.e. Demise's hurt, yes. Also, yes, Breath of the Wild is missing a lot of the Zelda Spirit music being a big part of that. Cheers, chat. Yeah, so chat's just chimed in. Two very good points. Lighting effects were brilliantly done, especially here. Demise... Lord Fruity, as I called him, because just the way he acts. But there we go. They're not politically correct, I suppose, in today's era, but there we go. But yeah, Demise is her... The lighting and the shadows in this game work brilliantly. They have done a very good, very faithful HD upgrade to this game. So I can't... I said I can't remember how well it looked back on the Wii. It wasn't even back on the Wii. It wasn't an ugly game. It's just one of those things where the art style just doesn't gel with me very well. Your mileage may, of course, vary, because after all, art is completely subjective to each of us. And that's Breath of the Wild, one of the things. We'll cover, when we eventually play Breath of the Wild on the channel, I'll cover the whole music aspect of it. But for the most part, yeah, the music has been an absolute joy. This soundtrack has been amazing. Especially, a lot of this game has been a love letter to Zelda games of old. It was released originally for the 25th anniversary of the Zelda franchise. So you have a few in-jokes here and there, like this is the 25th year that we've ran this competition, or even some of the songs you get, and just, well, a lot of the soundtrack pays homage to that, and I can't love them enough for it, especially in full orchestra. One of the greatest things for me in gaming was when soundtracks started using proper orchestras. I like my music, to a degree. I'm not up on all the bands and stuff, but decent music scores, decent soundtracks in games, I will always be happy. But there we go. I've rambled on long enough. Hopefully I've given you some ideas about what to expect from this game. Hopefully I've gotten my thoughts of how much I have enjoyed this ride across. Because as we know, especially if you've seen some of these videos, or at least some of my streams in the past, I do tend to ramble a bit, so if you've got any questions, feel free to drop a thing in the comments, or even stop by the channel when I'm live and ask me in chat. But either way, with that said, time for me to get out of here. So, to each and every one of you, thank you for stopping by, thank you for watching this video, and may you all have a beautiful evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever it is around this whole wide world you are. And until our paths next cross again, the Vortex awaits, and I'll see you all next time.